All right. Welcome to the Jimmy T aerobic class. You guys ready to move? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Move and move. And, Wario, what are you doing here?
Okay.
Yeah, I know you just came to work out, Wario, but that didn't end up good last time.
Oh, no.
All right, I'll give you one more chance, man.
Yahoo!
All right. 1, 2, 3, and move. And move. And... Wario? Wario, are you okay? Wario, oh my god! Oh, Wario! WarioWare DIY was released for the Nintendo DS on April 29, 2009 in Japan, and March 28, 2010 in North America. Unlike previous WarioWare titles where you're only able to play pre-made minigames during levels, WarioWare DIY allows you to create your own minigames. I'm sure this will only lead to good things. Okay. Well, I'm sure there's just a few weird... Oh dear God. WarioWare DIY was a DS title that had a counterpart title on the Wii called WarioWare DIY Showcase, where players' custom minigames could be played by people on the Wii. The creation of WarioWare DIY was actually explored in this really cool interview with former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata in one of his famous Iwata Talks. And WarioWare series director Goro Abe was featured on this talk, and I'll be referencing this interview throughout the video a few times. The development started in September of 2003. Abe explains that he and the other devs were having so much fun making minigames for WarioWare Inc. that he thought it would be great to share that experience with the players as well. He thought that the concept of game creation was a perfect fit for the WarioWare series because of how short the games were, and how short people's attention spans can be. Yeah, I don't know where he got that idea from. Abe took over 5 years to finally put his plans into action. Spurred by the development of Wii Connect 24, or the ability to exchange data between the Wii and the DS, he figured it was the perfect time to execute his idea. The game was received very well. Reviewers such as Metacritic and IGN gave it an 82 out of 100 and a 9 out of 10, respectively. And I know I, as a drooling little kid, adored this game, putting in hours and hours to create gaming masterpieces. Yeah, masterpieces. Hey Bethesda? Yeah, cancel Elder Scrolls? I've got ideas. Now, let's check out the game itself.
My life is like a video game.
The game starts with Dr. Krygor having a nightmare about video game characters stampeding out of his screen. He wakes up in a cold sweat, but he isn't terrified. He's actually inspired. He creates the Super Makermatic 21. Try saying that 5 times fast. Super Makermatic, Super Makermatic, Super Makermatic. It's a device capable of producing Nintendo DS games. Later at Krygor's shop, Wario, the main man himself, pulls up to get a new TV since his broke. Typical Wario. He sees the Super Makermatic and wants to buy it, thinking it's a new TV. But Dr. Krygor tells him what it actually is, and Wario sees dollar signs. Literally. This is exactly what he needs to revive WarioWare Inc., which has unfortunately fallen into ruin. And double unfortunately, his former employees, Mona, Jimmy T, Ashley and Red, Orbulon, and 9volt all now work for a rival company, Diamond Publishing.
We're rich! Diamond!
Wario entrusts us, the player, to create new games for him and bring back WarioWare Inc. to its former glory. I'm sure this decision won't backfire. As a player, we are able to create 3 different forms of media. games, songs, and comics, and I'll discuss each of them individually. The comic maker is probably the most straightforward of the bunch. You draw a picture, go to the next page, draw another picture until you finish the comic. It doesn't have much more depth than that. There are some really cool tools to take advantage of here, like the marker, the fill tool, the spray paint tool, and the rocket ship tool. Yeah, there's some funky tools here that allow you to create some really cool effects on the page. Like the time warp erase tool that makes it look like you're going into fucking hyperspace. Man, I wonder what kind of comics people are going to create with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I should have seen that coming, damn it. Next up is the music maker. Abe says that he and the team look to Mario Paint as an inspiration for WarioWare DIY. In the comic maker and the music maker. When you look at the interface, it's really clear to see where that inspiration came from. There are 5 tracks to use on a singular song. You have 4 music tracks where you can use a variety of instruments and sounds. Ah, yes, my favorite instrument. A bunch of karate dudes. Yeah, I might as well go watch Cobra Kai. You have 4 music tracks. The 5th track is a rhythm track for you to lay down a sick beat.
You got arrested?
You place these little orbs on the timeline here and match them up with specific keys. And when you hit play, this old man bounces his ass on the notes. What the fuck? You can manually place notes on the timeline, or you can use the DS microphone to hum whatever tune you're trying to make. And we all know how great and reliable the DS microphone is.
Okay, how was that? That was just...
One of the highlights for me on the interface in general is the little undo guy in the corner. But there isn't anything to undo, he just kind of chills there with his hands in his pockets. But once you direct him to do something, he springs into action with a cute little sound effect. Gameplay. I probably used this music maker the least as a kid, and I think that's just because I was too stupid and lazy to put in the effort to make music. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the main feature, the big draw of WarioWare DIY.
The Game Maker.
It takes the drawing tools of the comics, the music tools of the music maker, and combines them along with some extra features. The Game Maker is a ton of fun. Abe couldn't have been more right. People have made some amazing minigames with this, stuff that you might expect out of any other WarioWare game. So let's start from the ground up. You want to create a minigame, and you just open the Game Maker. You need to make a background, objects, and develop the script for the game. Drawing the background is self-explanatory, and this is an element that cannot be interacted with by any objects, so keep this in mind when you're making the game. Now, you need to make an object, let's say a giant boulder. We're going to make this giant boulder roll across the screen, and we'll create a cute little guy here who you need to make jump over that boulder. Let's call him Boris. So how are we going to make Boris jump over the boulder? We could add a little jump button here, or we can just instruct the player to tap the jump. Either method works. And to make this actually work, we need to add a script. This kind of reminds me of Scratch, actually, with the block coding. I used to mess around with it in middle school. I'm not sure if any of you guys used to use it, but yeah, it just reminds me of Scratch. Anyways, the scripting portion is pretty easy, leading us to the final step, which is to add some music. Check this out. Now it's time to package up our game and send it out to WarioWare Inc. I love how it treats the game as something that's really getting shipped out to be sold, because as a kid, I literally thought the games I was making were being shipped out to the masses. I mean, who knows? Maybe I have a cult following as a game dev in, like, Siberia or something. Alright, let's take this baby for a spin. It's beautiful. Making these games can be so addicting. Not only is it really fun to see your ideas come to life, but there are so many possibilities to explore. And it really does feed my brain-rotted, short attention span brain. But it's better than doom scrolling on TikTok or something. Although the game-making mechanic was the big draw of the game, there's still an entire other half of the game to explore. there are a bunch of minigames that we can play made by some familiar faces. Mona, Jimmy T, Ashley, Orbulon, and 9volt. My favorite to play as a kid was 9volt, since his games mainly centered around retro stuff. But now I cannot get enough of playing Jimmy T's games because of that amazing song in the background. But I'll talk about the music a little bit later, so you just wait. The first person you have access to is Mona, and you play her minigames as you explore a hidden temple for treasure to sell on QVC. Wait, is this Lori from Shark Tank?
Yes, we are. Can't stay here all night, and for that reason, we're out. No, stay here. Bye, Karen. I hear the cops.
Each character has a theme to their games, but, Mona's games seem to have the theme of just being weird as fuck. Oh look, it's an iCarly reference. Next up, you've got the most sexy man in all of WarioWare. Jimmy T. You follow Jimmy through his workout routine in the aerobics class as you play games mainly centered around different sports. Volleyball, baseball, ping pong, you name it. Jimmy's games are high-octane fun, and you need to be fast, and it's definitely my favorite one to play through now. After Jimmy, we meet Ashley, who we follow through the woods in the middle of the night and play games with her.
Excuse me, everybody. This man is here to meet a 13-year-old girl.
And it's funny, in direct opposition to Jimmy, her games are centered around food, and it's just plain fun. I especially love this game where you need to smack these two guys' hands to stop them from grabbing a cake, all the while the most intense fucking music plays in the background. Hell yeah. Fourth up, we've got Orbulon. Fuck Orbulon. We follow this little sperm-looking piece of shit as he tries to escape Earth while doing math-oriented games. And little kid me was not smart enough to do them in the time limit. And yeah, I can totally do them now, but I don't need to prove anything. Yeah, Orbulon's games center around doing quick math and other logic-tied games. I found this to be the hardest, but nonetheless still really fun. Last is 9volt, and his games are all modeled after retro games like Super Mario, Star Fox 64, and even Game & Watch. We follow him as he skateboards throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, and that's pretty fucking cool if you ask me. Suck it, Mario. A lot of his minigames have retro theme songs in them too. Unfortunately, the big downside here is that there are only 90 pre-made microgames in total that come with WarioWare DIY, much less than previous titles. Although in the interview, Abe says that this can be made up for by players downloading additional microgames online, though this was only available for a limited time. It's interesting that a game with do-it-yourself in the title was designed in such a way where you could play it and never make a single game yourself. To their credit though, I'm sure there are some people out there who didn't want to make anything themselves and are lazy. And those people are dead to me. A cool piece of info that Abe talks about in the interview is that Nintendo held some WarioWare design competitions in Japan, America, and Europe. I had no idea that these existed until now, but it's nice to see Nintendo actually like their community for once. Winners of these competitions would even have their games become available for anyone to download over Wi-Fi. So this is the only WarioWare game I've ever owned personally, so I'm not sure if this is something that the series is already well known for, so forgive me. But this soundtrack slaps! The music was composed by Kenichi Nishimaki and Takeru Kanazaki. Nishimaki has been composing music for Nintendo since the Super Nintendo days, but for Kanazaki, this is actually his first credited role as a composer on Nintendo's website. The soundtrack makes use of a lot of weird voices and sounds, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can just recreate most of these songs using the actual in-game music maker too, because a lot of these sounds are tools in that. The highlight of the soundtrack for me, by far, is Body Rock, Jimmy T's background song during his aerobic class. Good God, they put their whole Nintendo scene into that shit. I've played it in the background of the video, but have a little listen. Ooh, There's a Japanese version too, which is just as good, if not even more hype. The song that I probably listen to the most while playing this game is the graphic creation music when you're creating games. It's such a relaxing yet rhythmic piece that I didn't really find myself getting tired of listening to while sinking hours into the game maker. And that was WarioWare DIY. It was really cool to revisit this game that I used to be obsessed with as a kid. And look at some of the stupid things that I made. I hope you guys had just as much fun as I did exploring this cool title. And if you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go and pursue my untapped game-making genius at Nintendo. Oh, and remember, you are out of this world.